Hello and welcome to August Does Everything. I'm August, and this is Coffee and Cthulhu Q&A. Question 4. Is the Cthulhu mythos part of the SCP-verse? Okay, good question. No, it's not. They were originally created probably about 100 years apart, give or take. The Cthulhu mythos was originally started by H.P. Lovecraft, who liked to call it Yog-Sothothery, and several other authors. It was basically a shared universe before the idea of a shared universe came about, and then other writers expanded on it, and it's been going ever since. I think it's gained more popularity, especially of late, with Call of the Cthulhu role-playing game, the tabletop role-playing game, which is more popular than Dungeons & Dragons in Japan. And we will get into that later. I'll do a short episode on that. It's very interesting. But the Japanese really love their Cthulhu mythos and their tentacles. No surprise, right? Okay, so they're similar. The Cthulhu mythos was created like in the early part of the 1900s to the mid part. There were several stories by H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard, Clark Ashton Smith, and a few other contributors. And then after Cthulhu died in 1937, other writers went on to continue using the monsters, ideas, characters, concepts from Cthulhu mythos. They're all in public domain. H.P. Lovecraft was really cool about sharing ideas and, having another writer use his idea and then him using someone else's ideas. I think he did that with Frank Belknap Long, and they kind of went back and forth with the story. That's another episode. And then the SCP universe came about, I think it was like 2008, where you could collaborate and contribute to monsters that are contained by the SCP Foundation. So they're similar in the sense that anyone can contribute and it's a shared universe. So with just about everything from Cthulhu mythos being in public domain, there's nothing that dictates anything one way or the other, that you can't do that. If you're a creator or you want to contribute to either one or the other, there's no reason you can't combine the stories into some kind of hybrid, whether it's video game, song, sculpture, app, story. You can fit together the parts. Most of the Cthulhu mythos are dark and would be categorized under science fiction horror, with most of the monsters coming from another dimension or outer space. SCP gets more into like, urban mythology and whatnot. But some writers have taken a different slant. Mark Rogers in Samurai Cat has used monsters from the Cthulhu mythos and also mythology for his Samurai Cat stories, and they're very funny. It's more comedy. For example, he gets into a drinking game contest with Thor, and I recommend it. It's a series that came out, I think, in the early 90s. But once again, they're not part of each other, but there's no reason you can't combine them if you're a creator, storyteller, writer, whatever. So go for it. August out. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe.